Hey, it's Marthea Pitts, the MSW coach. I'm going to pick y'all up real quick to pin a comment. I'm going live to talk about 3 bad practices that I learned in case management that I am divorcing because they no longer serve me. Hey, as you're coming in the room, just pinning a comment. Drop in the chat where you're logging in from. What city, what state, what country, whatever you are comfortable with. And we're going to get this conversation started because I want to know if you experience the same thing. Oh, Miami in the building. Okay, Miami. I'm originally from Palm Beach County. I love it. Brown is from Miami. Let me pin this comment. Then we're going to jump right into the conversation because what I realized is that these 3 bad practices that I learned in case management land is what I like to refer to it as. Yes, South Florida in the building. What I learned is that these... Oh, y'all passing out. Okay, I got you up. So I got y'all kind of hooked up because my tripod wouldn't have done the thing. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about 3 bad practices that I picked up as a case manager that I am divorcing. They no longer serve me because I don't like the way they make me feel. I don't like the way it puts my nervous system in chaos. I don't like any of the things. Hey, Brenda, how you doing? So let's jump into it because I was talking to my cohorts earlier. So if you don't know, I have a whole group career coaching program called a Micro to Macro Career Accelerator, where I help social workers go from case management jobs to macro social work roles where they are scaling their impact and their social work salaries. And as of today, I've helped well over 135 social workers land macro social work jobs. So we meet every Sunday for a coaching call. And so coaching calls are for people to come ask questions about the curriculum that they're going through currently. Is where I give hot seat coaching. It's also where I do a lot of work around career confidence and helping people address those issues. Well, I don't do it. We have a career confidence coach. But today I was sharing with them around like things that I noticed that I carry on, that I do to this day that were birthed out of my time on the front lines as a case manager. And also a lot of it was birthed out of my time on the front lines as working in call centers. I had a very, very, very heavy call center background. I worked in state government and call centers for years before I went back to school as a working adult. And so what I was sharing with them is that I knew this in my first few macro jobs that it no longer served me, but I am to the point where I'm finally doing something about the things. So I wanted to bring them to your attention to bring it to light, to say that if you do these 3 things, you probably need to reevaluate. Do they really work for you or do they cause you more stress than good? Okay. So the first thing that I realized that I carried with me from my years of working on the front lines was multitasking. And I don't like doing it because what I realized is that me multitasking splits my attention too many ways. And the thing that I've been realizing lately is that I am missing chunks of important information, right? So I talked about it on another live where I was in a meeting one night with my coach, and she was giving us the blueprint on something. But I was over there on my computer, right? Supposed to be attentively listening to the meeting. I'm over there sending emails. And I'm like multitasking because Marthea subconsciously, I feel like I always got to be doing something when it comes to working, right? So what I realized was she had gave us a really good play on something. And by the time we logged off the call, I realized I think I missed 10 minutes of that conversation. They were very critical. They were steps that I needed. And that night I got off that call, I was so disgusted with myself. I was like, this multitasking thing no longer serves me. Now, it was birthed out of the fact that when I worked as a case manager and worked in call center jobs, you had to be talking to the people on the phone, research, because I worked in regulatory positions, because I worked with state government, so I had to be talking to the people and looking up laws, 50-page law documents, looking up laws, looking up policies, interpreting it so I can answer their question, navigating between 2 to 3 other systems, because I had to be making my notes. right? Because everything had to be documented. I had to operate like that. When I then got a case management job, I had to take that same practice with me, because we all know as case managers, be it clinical or non-clinical, you're required to do everything under the sun, which means you're going to have to be talking to the people to establish rapport, to understand what their needs are, but also at the same time creating your service plan, also at the same time typing up your referrals, also at the same time calling Susie over at the other agency like, hey, my person is coming over. Right, I'm having to issue bus passes and gas cards, and I have to run to the CFO and get what I need and all of the things. Multitasking was a requirement of those jobs, and if I did not know how to multitask, that meant I would have been walking out the door with my brown box. So I had to learn, I had to master being really, really good at multitasking, because that ensured that I was able to do my job. Now, Marthea, who has had 5 macro jobs, I learned the first macro job that high quality jobs don't operate in that manner. I was hired to be a subject matter expert, and that's just what I did. I stayed in my lane. I wasn't required to talk to know what 5 other departments did and have to create systems to get them all on board. I did in like a project management oversight way, but it was still only regarding my stuff. I didn't have to be the master of all the things, right? And so my very first macro job, and I talk about this with my career coaching clients, I was bored. My first macro job, I used to sit in my office and look out the window at ducks that I don't like. I used to watch them because in the complex they had a bunch of ducks, and I would ask my fellow directors, because I was a director, and I was like, what y'all do all day? Y'all just sit around here and wait on the next meeting? And she was like, yeah, that's essentially it. I said, y'all ain't gotta do nothing else. It's nothing I should be doing. I felt like the people were giving me a paycheck because it was nothing to do. And so now, more mature, wiser Marthea, I understand that was my nervous system looking for confusion, because I was coming out of like almost 10 years of working in jobs where I was required to overwork myself, multitask, do 150 things. Even when I'm off work, I have to be on call, answering phone calls in the middle of the night, in my sleep, going to the shelter to do all of the different things. And so it was a huge shift. And my first job, I think I probably around the end of year 1 is where I realized, like, okay, Marthea, this is how the people do it on the other side. Like, calm down. You're doing your job. You're doing it well, right? So multitasking is a thing that I want to completely get rid of. Multitasking, because I am actively working to curate a life of ease. I don't want to have to be doing 101,000 things. I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the fact that I sometimes come out at the end not really clear on all of the things, so then I have to go back and ask 50 questions or rewatch a thing. I don't like that. I want my attention to be focused with wherever I am, right? Because I want to do it one time and be done. So multitasking is a practice that no longer serves me. So I share these so you all can do an assessment on you to figure out, okay, is this really how I operate, or did this become a thing because it was a requirement of my job? And if it was a requirement of your job, does it still serve you? And if not, what are you going to do to get rid of it? So Brown says, I recently changed positions, social work / case management, to now social work supervisor. Congratulations. And some days I feel guilty if I'm not actively working, learning to delegate. That delegation one. Ooh, Brown. Ooh, delegation. I struggle with that. That is real, right? Because you used to doing everything. And I always like to tell the joke, which is a joke, but it's real. Everything I talk about is true. I don't talk in what ifs. My last case management job was in a shelter. I was working with DV survivors. My second case management job, I only had 2, right? Before I was like, I have had enough of this. I'm going over here to the prevention focused work. Intervention work is too hard. I didn't used to call it macro. I didn't start calling that until I got on the internet and y'all was calling it. I used to say I was a prevention focused social worker. But anyway, in that role, I was like, I gotta do all the stuff. I gotta move the furniture. I gotta cook the turkeys. I gotta dry the kids. I gotta fold the clothes. I gotta I said, I don't even work that hard in my own personal life. Like, I don't even cook my own turkey. We're like, why do I have to come here and do all of this? So again, multitasking. If that is not a thing that you are not naturally just doing, you need to assess if it's working for you and throw it away and find something else. So for me, I'm making a real effort to do one thing at a time. Now, does my nervous system like it? No. Sometimes I have to like talk to myself. Okay, Marthea, you're doing too many things. Slow down. Do one. Okay. The second one is working in long sprints. So as a case manager, it was not uncommon because I wasn't good at what I did just because I was good at what I did because I was really committed to the thing, just like you all on this live. I was really good at the thing because I put in a lot of time to get good at the thing. So it was not uncommon for me at the end of the month, to come in on a Saturday to make certain that my case notes were updated and that my career seekers activity hours, because that's how the state paid us our money for delivering the services, which was by participation rates. And I, on my team for a long time, was one of the top performers, the top people that had high participation rates, which is very hard in that program. But in order to do that, I had to come in on the weekends a lot of the times and work like Saturday mornings to make certain that all of my time sheets for my career seekers was updated in the state system. It also looked like me using the entire Friday to catch up on like 30 days of seeing people case file notes, because at that time, turnover rate, just like in every case management type organization, was very high. So I had over 120 plus people on my caseload. The cap normally, which was still high, was around like 70. I had 120 and 70 was pushing it to the limits. So in order to do that and to ensure that I was meeting my performance measures, because ain't nobody gonna outshine Marthea. That's just me. Plus I'm dedicated to the thing, right? I do everything that I do with excellence. So anyway, I would come in on Saturday and be updating case files and working in like hour-long sprints. My Fridays, which I always made an administrative day when I worked as a case manager, will look like this. I would come in the morning at 8 because I had to be there, and I wouldn't leave till like 6 or 7 p.m. and I would literally be chained to my desk working in long sprints. 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, updating case notes, making sure my files were pristine, doing quality assurance checks, calling my people, hey, this Miss Pitts, I need my time sheet, and then running up to the front to get the time sheet because I got to ensure that the things are in the system. So a behavior that I took out of that work was working in long sprints. How that showed up in other areas of my life was that I when I started my PhD program, it was weekends where I never left my house because I would be at my computer. And even when I was working on my AA degree, I would be at my computer and I would just be working, typing papers, typing 20, 30 papers, straight 8-hour sprints, not in little increments. Literally, where I'm sitting at the computer all day long. So I had a revelation yesterday. If you don't know, I'm a current PhD candidate. I'm working on some stuff that I got to submit. So yesterday I was working with my writing group and they were doing, I love to do virtual co-working. If you don't know what that is, it's something I learned about during the pandemic. If you have if you need like accountability and you need a productivity hack, find you a virtual co-working group, right? So we do a lot of that inside of the community as well when people want to do the thing. But so I was working with my virtual co-working group yesterday, and they set how it works is you work in sprints. You work in certain increments of time. I am generally accustomed to you working in 50-minute sprints. You work 50 minutes straight, and then you take a 10-minute break to get up, walk around, check in with whoever you're co-working with, tell them what you achieved in that 50 minutes, and then you you tell them what you're going to be working on in the next sprint. The co-working group I was working with yesterday was working in 2-hour sprints. It was somewhere between like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I logged in. I saw that the time was on the clock, and I think they had like an hour and a half left. I was like, okay, I'm going to get to working. Somewhere around like the 15-20 minute mark, my mind started to wander, and next thing I know, I had my phone in my hand. I call it Foo La Line. It's when, in the words of Funky Dineva, a YouTube personality, when you're doing stuff you ain't got, or doing stuff that, you know, just doing whatever you want to do. So next thing I know, I was Foo La Line. I was scrolling through my phone. I was posting on Instagram. I'm supposed to be reading the article to synthesize it. Next thing I look up, it's 20 minutes left on the clock. I was like, I'm going to go lay across my bed. So what I realized, right, and the reason I share that with you all, I was like, okay, this hour and a half sprint thing ain't going to work for me, because I'm used to 50 minutes and then I could get up and walk around and do what I want to do, because I like to just walk around my house. So what I did was I used the Pomodoro timer on my app, which I learned about in the pandemic as a part of virtually co-working with people. I said, normally I set it for 50 minutes. I was like, I'm going to do 25, which is the recommended, like the default increment of time that comes on a Pomodoro app. So I was like, I'm going to do 25 minutes, and then it gives you a default period of 5 minutes of a break. So I did that. I worked through one cycle, 25 minutes. Looked up. I'm like, oh, okay, I actually have words on the paper. I read the article. Good. I did it again. I think I had 4 cycles of 25 minutes with 5-minute breaks in between. By the time we were done with that next hour and a half sprint, I had like synthesized 4 or 5 articles or something like that, and I was way more productive. So what I realized after that was, all of that long sprint working for 6, 7, 8 hours straight, that no longer serves me. I'm leaving that in case management land. I'm not bringing that forward with me. It doesn't make my nervous system feel good because I used to cry real tears sitting at my computer all weekend long, watching the sun go up and the sun go down and the sun come back and the sun go back down, and I'm still sitting there working. So what I said was, going forward, I'm going to work in 25 increments of time. I'm going to take me a break, the Foo La La, and do whatever I want to do during those 5 minutes. And then the most I'm going to work is 4 hours at a time. So instead of working 12 hours in one day, I'm only going to work 4 hours in a day, and then I'll pick it up the next day. Now, I'm going to be honest, because I like to be real honest with myself. A large reason of why I work in those long sprints is because I be procrastinating. I like to put the thing off, because at the core, I'm rehabilitating myself from being an ex-perfectionist, right? So perfectionism, because you want it to be perfect the first time, ultimately is what causes you in many situations, because I've done a lot of research on the thing to understand why I do it. Perfectionism causes you to delay the thing because you want it to be perfect, and ultimately the underlying thing there is fear. Fear of not getting it right, fear of failure, fear of whatever, insert your thing. So I was like, I know that the reason I have to do those long sprints is because I be procrastinating, and I'm working on my fear. I'm working on pushing through my fear. So since yesterday and today, the 4-hour increments of work really is a test of me pushing through fear, right? Yeah, it's times I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the people want. I know how to read an article. I know how to synthesize it. But is it on point? Because a lot of that yesterday was, is this right? Did I pull the right article? Is the section title right? The whole dissertation process is just a very elusive process, right? Everybody trade secret, like inside secret, nobody know what they're doing in PhD programs. That's just like the rite of passage. So all of that I was feeling was causing me to wait to the last minute. So I share that to say, like, for me, working in long sprints will no longer be my thing. That's no longer my MO. I'm not waiting to 24 hours before the thing due. I'm not waiting to the weekend before. Can I do it? Yes. Have I done it before? Yes. Do I like the way it makes my nervous system feel? No. I don't like it. And in the words of one of my coaching clients today, life happens, right? You waiting on the 24 hours before the due date to sit down and actually type the paper. Anything can happen in those 24 hours. And then next thing you know, you got to go to your professor or go to the person that is due to and fall on the sword, in the words of one of my former professors, and ask for an extension or take points off. Avoid all of that, right? Don't even do it. Dismiss that behavior. Leave it in case management land and find what works for you. But all of that sitting at computers for long periods of time does not work for me, and I'm divorcing it. Now, on the same leg of that, right, the working sprints, another thing that I was guilty of doing as a case manager was not taking breaks. Drop a 1 in the chat if you are guilty of not taking breaks during your work day. A 1 if you are guilty of not taking your 15-minute break, be it one or both of them. If you are guilty of skipping lunches, if you are guilty of not going to get your water out of the staff break room because you're afraid it's going to take too many steps or too many minutes to get there, and I need all of my minutes to enter these case notes, or I need to be here for when my client calls me, my participant calls me, whatever the thing. Okay, Brown says 1, Dunn says 1. I love the transparency and honesty. That is a very real thing for social workers. We don't take breaks, right? We don't take breaks. Brown says I started doing 1-hour intervals and getting up to walk and get water. I love that for you. I love that for you. That's a good strategy. Someone needs to borrow that. I love that, Brown. So not taking breaks while working no longer serves me. It no longer serves me. I was telling my daughter the other day, because she's in town visiting me because she lives in South Florida for work. I was like, because she's a pastry chef, but she likes to cook. She didn't get that from me. She got that from her father's mother, her grandmother on that side, because I don't enjoy cooking. But she cooks for me a lot, right? Now she's making me salads and making me all the things. I said, oh, you the best daughter I have. She's like, Mommy, I'm your only daughter. I said, but no, it was months where I was living off microwave popcorn. In my PhD coursework days, I wasn't getting up from my computer. I was living off microwave popcorn because that was because I don't like cooking. It was the easiest thing to put in the microwave. I get stressed and overwhelmed when I got to think too hard about like getting healthy food and making certain I'm not doing the thing. And then I'm a creature of habit. So when I like something, I like it. So I was eating a lot of microwave popcorn, right? So not taking breaks. In that whole PhD coursework, 2 years of doing that thing in the height of the pandemic, it was impacting me significantly in other areas of my life. So Marthea present day, that's something I divorced a few months ago, is not taking breaks. I'm going to take a break. And I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm going to lay across my bed. I'm probably going to laugh so hard till my stomach hurt at a YouTube video or Instagram post or something silly, and I'm not gonna feel guilt associated with it. So I named that because many of you who are on this live or who's watching the replay, and if you're watching the replay, leave hashtag replay in the chat so I know you're watching it. That's a very real reality for many of you, where you feel guilt for taking breaks or taking time off, or calling off a day, or taking off a vacation day, and you're on vacation and you're logging into your email. All of that is still in that family group, right? I know I'm talking about working, but working on the computer, but that's still all in the same family group. If you don't take breaks at work, that means you don't take time off from work. That means that when you're off, you're checking your email. Those are behaviors that you need to divorce and find some better alternatives. So for me this week, I've been working really hard to use our career confidence coach inside of the accelerator, Dr. Ray Goza's framework that he shared with us, which is the rule of 3. So last week during our coaching call, all of the cohorts that currently work with me in my group career coaching program, we created a rule of 3 plan of action, because I'm all about action. Right, so we had talked in one session about what you should do to prioritize yourself and things to do to prevent burnout, because he's an expert on all of those things. And I was like, I want to create a plan with some action steps so we can put it into place, because I don't like to just talk about stuff to talk about stuff. So we created a plan, and my plan was, I'm going to go outside, because it's been days where I'll just stay in my apartment. That's also my introverted ways, right? So I'll just stay in my apartment for days on end if I don't have to like go out to work out or do some other stuff and some other stuff. So my plan was I'm going to go out every day for 30 minutes and sit by the pool in my complex so I can get some sun, because I need vitamin D. My vitamin D gets low at times due to being inside all of the time. So I do that now. Actually, I was going to go live and talk to y'all about a pool, but my complex wouldn't let me be great. For some reason, the pool gate was locked and the code didn't work. But I go out every day, right? And he has other strategies of things to take breaks. All right, where if you're working in sprints, you want to get up every 3 minutes and walk through a doorway. Like, he has a whole technical framework, which I love. But I've been working really consciously this week to implement the plan that I created for myself, because I want a life of ease. And when I say ease, not just financial ease, mental ease, emotional ease, nervous system ease, because I've spent too many years living in just chaos because of those jobs, right? Because when you work in low quality, toxic, chaotic, hectic, insert your word, jobs, it impacts your personal life. It shows up. You go home and you kick your cat, kick your dog, yell at your kids, yell at your partner, like slamming doors, locking yourself in the bedroom, in the bathroom, drinking bottles of wine, like all of the things, right? It impacts you. And so I don't like that feeling, and I'm divorcing those things. So that's why I wanted to come on and name those three. I didn't know what to call them, so I called them practices. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not multitasking. I'm not working in long sprints of time. I'm not taking breaks when I am working. And yeah, so drop in the chat and tell me what behavior, it could be something that I named or something that I didn't name, that you are going to divorce. You're gonna throw it away. You're gonna stop doing it because you realize, based on after this conversation, it has caused you more harm than good, and you don't like it. So drop one practice that you are no longer going to do based on what we talked about today, just so I can assess for learning, right? I don't get on here just to be talking. I get on here to ensure that I am helping somebody and teaching you something. So I was like, let me come on and share my experience with the thing. And so while you drop that in the chat, because I really am interested to see what your responses are, I just want to say, like, it's a very real thing, especially when you're going from case management to macro work. Like one of my coaching clients right now, she got her macro job after completing my program. She still works with me on an ongoing basis for like leadership coaching. She just finished her first 30 days in her macro job, and she shared today about how the practice she needs to divorce is slowing down. She says because she came from like child welfare land and she was in a leadership role, she's used to having like to do 5 other people's jobs, maybe 10 other people's jobs, and she's used to having to produce it all in like unhuman amounts of time. And so now when she does that in her new macro job, her director is like, you can sit with that a little bit longer. I don't need it. Like, they're naming it because they see it, because it's weird behavior. It's weird behavior when us case managers are now in these macro spaces and we're bringing these not so great behaviors with us. It stands out like a sore thumb. So that's why I talk to my people, my coaching clients about it. Like, hey, I just want to let you know, you're going to have to do some other work other than just the resume. You're going to have to work on unlearning all of that stuff that you picked up in case management land. So her director was like, you can't hold it a little bit longer. You can take longer than that. There's no deadline. And she's like, no deadline? It's blowing her mind. But she was prepared for this because I had prepared her as her career coach before she even got the job. That is a very real thing. So Julie says, gonna have to think on this one. I love it, Julie. Think about it. Look at your day tomorrow as a whole and figure out what is it that you need to throw away. Brown says procrastinating. I love that. I love your honesty on that one. And Laura says perfectionism. Yes, Laura, throw it out the window. Perfectionism does not exist. They make you like My perfectionism started out of call centers because I was so afraid of being called into the office during the quality assurance checks, and then them being like, you forgot to give your ID and you didn't give the closing. It's like, you will never tell me what I did wrong. Not like that. Not the way they used to do it. They used to play your recording on a loudspeaker and then have the whole team critique it and all. You ain't gonna call me on the carpet like that. Right? But now that I'm in I have been in higher quality jobs, perfectionism is not a real thing. It's not a real thing. So I love it. Look at y'all engaging, talking about your career on a Sunday evening. I love it. So, really look at the things that you're doing every day and figure out what's working for you. What is something that you want to keep and what is something that you need to get rid of because it's no longer serving you. Also, just as a friendly reminder, cohort 15 of the Micro to Macro Career Accelerator enrollment opens on Sunday, May 12th, and it closes on Saturday, May 18th. If you're interested in working with me inside of my group career coaching program, click the link in the bio. Schedule a call with me. It's free. But when you click the link, it gives you all of the information, everything you need to know about joining the accelerator. There's a pre-application form. There's no cost to fill out the application. It's just so I understand what your career needs are. But then we schedule a call so we can see if we're a good fit, because I don't work with everybody. But until then, I'll talk to y'all next time. Happy macro career planning. Bye.